Hi guys, and once again you're welcome to today's tutorial. My name is Chichi in case you're new here for the first time, and if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for always coming back. So in today's tutorial, like I said in the previous tutorial, this tutorial is in two parts. The tutorial before this one was the cutting tutorial, and this is the sewing tutorial. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be taking you through the in-depth process of sewing this particular outfit, or just the one like to replicate what you can see on your screen. Okay, and in case you haven't come across the cutting tutorial, I'm going to be leaving the link to the cutting tutorial in the description box and in the comment section. So if you haven't watched that before clicking on this particular one, the link would be in the description box. So do yourself this big favor by watching the cutting tutorial first before coming to watch this, so that you can understand every single step all the way. Sit right back, relax, and enjoy while I take you through the process of sewing this piece from A to Z. And here is the beautiful piece of African fabric that I'm going to be using for this particular outfit. So I got my fabric placed on fold and placed my pattern on it, and for the seam allowances I added half an inch at this particular side that you can see me cutting, and then 1 inch at the lower part, and then for the other side, this bigger side, I added 1.5 inches. And I got the next pattern, I placed it on the fabric and I repeated the same process. 1.5 inch on this side, 1 inch at this lower part, and at the upper part there is no seam allowance, and then half an inch at this side. Okay, so I basically repeated this same process all through the cutting of the fabric using my patterns. And please endeavor to take note of all the seam allowances that I added to the fabric, okay, especially those curvy and pointy areas. Please endeavor to take note of all those seam allowances so that you don't run short of sewing allowances by the time you start your stitching process. Okay, so places like these pointy areas, you can see the half-inch allowances are added even to this other one. You can see the pointy areas, so endeavor to make sure you have your seam allowances also added there. So at the end of cutting of this center piece for the front, I had to fold into two to make sure that the bustier area are equal on both sides. So this is what the front cutting of the fabric using the pattern looks like. Okay, I'm going to be cutting the interfacing and putting stay on them, and I'll be showing you that later. And this is what the back cutting of the fabric using the patterns also looks like, and I'm going to be doing the same thing, cutting of the interfacing and putting stay on them. Okay, so for the stitching of the back, this is how the placement should go. And at this point, I have the stay already ironed on each of the parts of this fabric. On every single thing I had it stayed. Okay, this is what the stay, you can see I already have stayed iron on them. So it's time for me to stitch, and this is the front. I already stitched the three parts of the front, and this is what it looks like. Okay, you can see the cup area, like the bust area already taking shape. There is no cup here, there is no wadding. That's just because of the perfect cutting. So for this part, I'm going to be trimming it out to make it a little, to take out the pointy area to make it curvy. Okay, and this is also the interfacing already ironed, stayed and stitched. Okay, so this is the upper area of the other arm that we cut off, making the body look asymmetrical. We take that aside, and then we're going to be stitching the back to the front at the shoulder area. Okay, so for this part, we're going to be stitching the shoulder. Like for that part, this front part that we cut out, we're not going to be joining it now. Do you get? Don't join. We're not joining this part now. Okay, we are going to do that later. So we just first of all stitch on the shoulders for the front and back. So after stitching the shoulders together, this is what it looks like. You can see this part is still open. So the very next important thing we are going to be doing is to cut out the cape on the neck. That's that black part, the black cape on the neck part of the dress. So I open up this one of it like so. I just take out the other one and I open this up. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I get the black fabric that I'm going to be using. This is for the interfacing, this is a doll face, and this is the interfacing for this. This is not the main fabric I'm going to be using. So I place it, and I'm going to be tracing out the whole neck width round like so. And I also come over to this side, I trace it out, and this joining of the shoulder, that's the front and back, I mark that particular point. So at this point I mark 2 inches, and at this joining area I come down by 5.5 inches, and then the other part is going to be pointed, so no need. So I just connect from this 2 inches to the 5.5 point, and then connecting back to this point as a pointy area, and then I'm going to be cutting along like so. Can you see the shape? Please take note of this shape. Okay, so I have that cut out. So this is for this, and then if I get the main fabric and I place it on it, you can see what it looks like. Can you see? This is exactly what it should look like. So when I folded it the way it should be, you can see that it already has taken the shape it should. Okay, so for the rest of the part, I'm going to be cutting this, doing the same thing. So I got the other side of the blouse, and then I place it over like so, and I trace just like I did to the other part. I trace like so, and then trace this other part as well. And also at the zipper allowance and at the joining of the back and front and on the shoulder, I mark that point as well. So at this point I marked the same 2 inches, and then at this shoulder area I did 5.5 just like I did to the other side. And the other points, there is no need because it's going to be pointy, so I connected just as you can see me do, and I'm going to be cutting out exactly what I have. If you're still watching up to this point and you haven't subscribed, please do well by clicking on the red subscribe button. Thank you. So after the cutting and I place, you can see what we have, and then when I fold again, you can see this is exactly what it should look like. Okay, so this is what we have, and I'm going to be using this to cut the main sequence fabric that I'm going to be using. So after cutting, I put stay on them, and this is what they all look like. So it's time for me to stitch. And for the stitching, guys, I made a mistake. I placed the stay on the wrong side. That's for the interfacing, and guys, that means I'm going to be recutting, because by the time this is what the placement for the stitching should look like. At this point I was frustrated, so I'm going to be recutting the interfacing and then putting stay on the right part. Okay, I did the same mistake here. Can you see? If I want to stitch now, it's not going to align. So at this point I have corrected myself and I have it stitched, and this is what they both look like. So I got the fabric, and this is what the placement looks like. So I placed, and I'm going to be stitching on this, and I got this other one. I'm going to be stitching on the right side. Okay, place the cape on the right side and then hold it down with the stitch. So this is what I've done. You can see I've already stitched them down. So the next thing I'm going to be doing at this point, can you see how beautiful it's already looking? So I basically have them placed the way it should. This is what the placement looks like. I have them placed the way they should. Remember that we haven't joined this part. Okay, so to do that, first of all, I take it out and I'm going to be turning it with the interfacing around the neck and zipper area. So I'm going to be closing up the neck area and then the zipper. So after closing that, this is what it looks like. Can you see? I already have that closed, and we haven't closed the other side. So before we close the other side of the bodice using the interfacing, we are going to be stitching this part. Remember this part, so we are going to be stitching it. So in stitching it, I turn it this way and then I place it. Remember where your placement should be. Please take note of that. So after doing that, I got the interfacing and I'm going to be stitching around the neck area. Okay, so this is what the stitching should look like. So I stitch around, and then I'm going to be coming back to show you what it looked like. So after stitching the neck area, you can see this is how beautiful and perfect it came out looking. So I turned to the other side, that's the wrong side, and you can see how the neckline closing went. So this is how it came out. So at this point, the next thing we're going to be doing is to close this down part. We're going to turn it with the interfacing, both the front and the back, and then we close up the sides, and then at the back I insert the zipper, and then with the sleeves. And guys, our outfit is ready, and this is how beautiful it came out looking. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please do well by clicking on the subscribe button, like this video, drop your comment, and also share, because it makes the video get to the right audience. Okay, thank you guys once again, and see you in my very next one. Bye.